Today's reading from the Bible. Yesterday we finished the Torah, and today, since it is Monday, Thursday, I wanted to do something a little different. And so we are actually going to look at a part of the chapter 13 of John 13, 1 through 17. So, actually, yeah, 17. So I'm just going to look at it and talk about it some, this being Monday, Thursday. So, just before the Passover feast, Jesus knew that his time had come to depart from this world to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he now loved them to the very end. The evening meal was in progress. The devil had already put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, that he should betray Jesus. Because Jesus knew that the Father had handed all things over to him, and that he had come from God and was going back to God, he got up from the meal, removed his outer clothes, and took a towel and tied it around himself. He poured water into the wash basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to dry them with a towel he had wrapped around himself. He then came to Simon Peter. Peter said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not understand what I am about to do, but you will understand after these things." Peter said to him, "You will never wash my feet." Jesus replied, "If I don't wash you, you have no share with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, wash not only my feet, but also my hands and my head." And Jesus replied, "The one who is bathed needs only to wash his feet, but is completely clean. And you disciples are clean, but not every one of you." For Jesus knew who the one who was going to betray him. For this reason he said, "Not every one of you is clean." So when Jesus had washed their feet and put his outer clothing back on, he took his place at the table again and said to them, "Do you understand what I have done for you? You call me teacher and Lord, and do so correctly, for that is what I am. If I, then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you too ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example. You should do just as I have done for you. I tell you the solemn truth: the slave is not greater than his master, nor is the one who is sent as a messenger greater than the one who sent him. If you understand these things, you will be blessed if you do them." Jesus, as we're in Holy Week, Jesus, before he's arrested, the night he's arrested, he had a Passover meal. We know that from the other Gospels, and it's talking about the feast of the Passover. But he had his Passover meal with his disciples, and that's where we get the idea of the Lord's Supper. Jesus instituted the Lord's Supper at that meal. But the other thing he instituted at that meal is he washed his disciples' feet. Excuse me. He washed his disciples' feet. And in the tradition we're a part of, that Church of God Anderson, we have Monday, Thursday, we have a foot washing service, and we'll do that later tonight at the church. And as I thought about everything that was going to happen that night, the foot washing, the Last Supper, I also thought about, I saw a meme, and I actually saw someone who had a tattoo on their arm that said, "Jesus ate with Judas too." And then as I read this passage, as I was getting ready for tonight, as I was kind of meditating on this event in the life of Jesus, I thought about the fact that in verse 10, he says, "Not every one of you are clean." And in verse 11, it says, "For Jesus knew the one who was going to betray him." He didn't just eat with Judas, knowing that Judas was going to betray him, knowing that Judas had already sold him out for 30 pieces of silver. He just didn't eat with him at the table, but he washed his feet. Jesus washed the feet of someone who had made himself Jesus' enemy. Think about that. You know, we may think about feet today and not think they're the cleanest thing, or it's a weird thing to wash another person's feet. In the ancient world, you know, they wore sandals, if they had shoes. To wash someone's feet in the ancient world meant that you did actually clean off the dirt and the gunk and the livestock manure and such, and the sweat all mixed together that caked itself on a person's feet during the day. Jesus washed the disciples' feet, even Judas, who would later that night bring Roman soldiers and the priests with him to arrest Jesus. Think about that. Think about the fact that even though Judas had made himself Jesus' enemy, Jesus still loved him. And Jesus still took the time to wash his feet. When I think about that, and I think about the love of God that he has for all of us, it makes me stop. And it makes me evaluate my love for others and my love for God. And how do I best live that out? And as I think about it, I see so much room that I have to grow. May we be a people who serve all with the love of God. May we be a people who are willing to humble ourselves and do the dirty jobs God calls us to do. May we be people willing to wash the feet of those who betray us, those who hurt us, those who align themselves against us. Because that is what we see in Jesus, and we want to be like Jesus. Hope you guys have a good day.